The past can be really funny. It's seen strange trends such as pole sitting, phone booth stuffing, and the Olympics. I'm counting those. It seems like they've been around forever, and they are based off the ancient Greek ones. But the modern Olympics started around the same time as the Wright brothers taking their first flight, and the first silent film hitting theaters. It all started with Pierre de Coubertin, a French aristocrat who had a dream, inspired by the ancient Greek Olympic Games, to create an athletic event that promotes understanding across cultures and peace. He founded the International Olympic Committee, and they set the first Olympic Games to be held in Athens in 1896. With 14 nations competing in 9 sports, the very first Olympics were regarded as a great success. Everyone agreed, we should do this every 4 years. Pierre de Coubertin must have been very satisfied, seeing his dream come to fruition in an amazing start. But that was quickly undone, because the 1900 Olympics in Paris were a mess. The 1900 Paris Olympics. They were held as part of the 1900 Paris World's Fair. De Coubertin did this because he thought, hey, it'd be pretty good advertising for this new Olympic thing I got going on. That was a bad idea, because the World's Fair also has athletic events. So it was really unclear as to which events were Olympic and which were not. Some of the award validity is still debated to this day. Many of the actual Olympic events didn't even have the name Olympics on them, so many of the competitors, even the ones who won, didn't know that they were participating in it. And some of these events were just bonkers. For the first and last time, the Olympics hosted official events for motorcycle and automobile racing, a swimming obstacle course, and my favorite of these, ballooning. These are some events that also happened, but aren't recognized by the IOC today as official. Angle fishing, cannon shooting, firefighting, life-saving, kite flying, and pigeon racing. How come in 2021 people say to me rock climbing isn't a real sport? I could be an Olympic fire pigeon fisherman. De Coubertin later commented, it's a miracle that the Olympic movement survived. I'm sure my man Pierre was just happy to get the Paris fiasco over with and get a fresh start 4 years later. Time for America to be addicted to winning as they always do. Meet me in St. Louis, baby, for the 1904 Olympics.
If you will meet me in St. Louis, meet me at the fair.
First of all, they didn't learn from their mistakes. This occurred at the same time as the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. The stories you are about to hear are tales of comic proportions. If someone told me these stories and said, that's the plot of an Adam Sandler film, I would believe them without hesitation. So without further ado, I present to you the disastrous, hilarious, and comically unbelievable 1904 Olympics. There was an aquatic event called Plunge, which involves jumping into a pool, holding your breath, and hoping you float farther than everyone else. There was also an exhibition called Anthropology Days, which is a human zoo. I won't even get started on that one. There was a tug-of-war event, and all 4 places, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all went to the USA, because they were the only ones competing against themselves. The most bizarre event of them all is a traditional one, the marathon, but it was so far from normal. It started at 3 p.m., which is not ideal for a marathon because it's the heat of the day. It was 90 degrees out. It consisted of 5 laps around the stadium, then the rest was on dirt country roads. Then it finished back at the stadium. There were race officials riding in cars ahead of and behind the runners, creating dust clouds, destroying the competitors' lungs. One person had to drop out halfway through the race and they were leading just because of the dust. Another was found unconscious along the track with severe internal injuries caused by breathing in the clouds of dust from the cars. There was only 2 sources of water along the course, one at the 6-mile and one at the 12-mile mark, on a marathon, which is 26 miles. This was intentional because a race official wanted to test his own personal theories on purposeful dehydration, because he thought it could be beneficial for athletes. 5-foot-tall Cuban postman André Carvajal came straight from New Orleans last minute. He hitchhiked up, and when he got there, he cut the pant legs off his street clothes to make them look like shorts. He was chatting with spectators and tried stealing peaches from a race official. He hadn't eaten in 40 hours. Along the way, he stopped by an orchard to snack on some apples, which were apparently rotten, so he had to lie down and take a nap. Despite the stomach cramps, the starvation, the rotten apples, and taking a nap all in the middle of the marathon, he finished in 4th. There was also 2 South African entrants finishing in 9th and 12th, which was a disappointment to many observers who were sure the first one could have done better if he had not been chased nearly a mile off trail by a pack of feral dogs. Now let's talk about the first person to win first place, Fred Lors, an American athlete who dropped out 9 miles in due to stomach cramps. He got a ride back to the stadium in a car and was waving at spectators and fellow competitors along the way. The car broke down at the 19th mile mark, so he decided, what the hell, and jogged to the finish line and was awarded first place. He gets hailed the winner, takes a photo with the president's daughter, and is about to get the gold medals when he's confronted by race officials about the 11 miles he was in a car in. So he goes, "Just kidding, I was joking." What's so funny about this is that he won the Boston Marathon the next year. So it's not like he couldn't do a marathon, he just chose not to. Now we got the second person to win first place, Thomas Hicks. He was halfway through the race, leading by more than 1.5 miles, but his trainers really didn't want him to slow down. So they injected him with strychnine, which if you didn't know, is rat poison. They mixed it with brandy and injected him one more time. He was barely able to walk, but persevered onward, hallucinating. When he got to the stadium, his support team carried him in the air through the finish line while he shuffled his feet as if he were still running. He got dragged over the finish line.
Yay!
Victory. He had to be treated by doctors immediately or he probably would have died. He lost 8 pounds just during the course of the marathon. So there it is, the 1904 marathon and the beginning of the Olympics. Don't worry, Pierre. Your dream eventually became true, a well-organized event of international athletic cooperation. It just took a while. And it was pretty funny along the way.